Imagine, right now, that an unseen hand has placed a sealed envelope in your pocket. Inside is a set of sacred orders, orders crafted exclusively for you. They direct you to step into the arena of life with unwavering boldness, relentless discipline, and an ironclad faith in your higher purpose. That, my friend, is precisely how you must live, as if you are on a mission from God. Recognize the divine assignment. The first whisper of greatness is a simple conviction. You are here for a reason. Your talents were never meant to lie dormant. Your dreams were never meant to gather dust on the shelf of someday. Say to yourself, I have been commissioned. My life is not an accident. It is an assignment. When you adopt this mindset, every morning sun becomes a clarion call. You rise not to exist, but to execute. Obstacles cease to be inconveniences. They become integral chapters in your sacred narrative. Cultivate absolute faith in the outcome. A divine mission is not pursued with timid hopes. It is driven by absolute faith. Faith is the invisible architecture upon which all tangible results are built. See the end first. Close your eyes and witness the fulfillment of your calling in vivid detail. Speak as though it were already so. Your words are creative forces. Aim them carefully. Act in harmony with that vision. Every deed, no matter how small, must align with the grand design you have seen in your mind. Remember, doubt paralyzes, faith galvanizes. When faith takes command, your subconscious mind mobilizes every faculty, imagination, intuition, even the mysterious forces of circumstance, to translate your vision into reality. Adopt the discipline of a sacred messenger. A messenger entrusted with divine orders allows no indulgence in laziness, no compromise with mediocrity. Discipline is the mortar that binds inspiration to accomplishment. Guard your thoughts. What you dwell upon, you invite into your life. Guard your time. Every minute misspent is a page torn from the book of your destiny. Guard your habits. Repetition is the sculptor of character. Ensure the sculpture is worthy of your calling. Train your body, mind, and spirit as a single unit, each reinforcing the other. A well-ordered life speaks louder than 1,000 proclamations. Transmute adversity into advancement on a divine mission. Resistance is guaranteed. The greater the calling, the fiercer the headwinds, yet each setback carries within it the seed of an equivalent or greater advantage. Ask, what is the lesson? Extract wisdom while the wound is still fresh. Ask, how can this serve my purpose? Convert frustration into fuel. Forge resilience. Steel is tempered by fire, so too is the human spirit. Adversity is not a signal to retreat. It is confirmation that you are advancing on meaningful ground. Render service on a grand scale. No mission from the divine is selfish. Your success must overflow and nourish others. The measure of your greatness is the number of lives you enrich. Seek to solve problems that matter. Deliver more value than you are paid for. Lift others as you climb. When the law of generous service governs your actions, unseen doors swing open and unseen allies appear. Providence conspires with the giver. Stand in constant gratitude. Gratitude is the key that keeps your spiritual transmitter tuned to higher frequencies. Begin and end each day by naming your blessings aloud. Thankfulness magnetizes further abundance and keeps arrogance at bay. The humble heart remains teachable, and the teachable heart ascends. Persist until the seal is broken. A sacred commission is never abandoned midway. Persist, 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 until the envelope is opened, the letter read, and the objective achieved. Should weariness whisper its temptations, remember the one who sent you. Recall the faces of those awaiting the fruits of your labor. Let that remembrance ignite your will anew. Closing charge, walk forth from this moment with head high and spirit unshakable. Conduct your affairs as though celestial eyes observe every action, because they do. Speak with conviction, work with intensity, love with generosity, and persevere with the fortitude of eternity itself. You are on a mission from God. Live like it, work like it, triumph like it. Picture, if you will, the dawning moment when an individual first realizes that life is not a casual stroll through chance, it is a deliberate expedition commissioned by a higher power. In that instant, the ordinary becomes extraordinary, for the person senses an invisible signature upon his very soul, authorizing him to achieve a definite chief aim that no one else can execute. From that awareness springs a force more potent than physical strength, more enduring than mere enthusiasm, a burning definiteness of purpose. It is the conviction that one's minutes and hours are sacred currency to be invested, not spent, that each breath is an opportunity to advance a holy enterprise conceived in the mind of the infinite. When you adopt this attitude, every sunrise strikes the anvil of your consciousness like a hammer of destiny, ringing out the same imperative. Arise, executor of the plan. There is work that only you can do. You begin to look upon your talents not as decorations but as tools, not as ornaments but as instruments divinely issued for the fulfillment of your commission. The gift of speech becomes a trumpet to rally the discouraged. A keen intellect becomes a lantern illuminating dark corners of ignorance. Even your hardships, once resented, reveal themselves as sharpening stones upon which the edge of your character is honed. Reorienting your life to this viewpoint dissolves the false distinction between the secular and the sacred. Every occupation, when infused with mission, consciousness, becomes worship. The teacher shaping young minds, the artisan crafting honest goods, the entrepreneur solving real problems all stand on consecrated ground as surely as any robed priest before an altar. The humblest task acquires dignity, for it is performed by an emissary of purpose. At the same time, idleness turns intolerable, a trespass against the very reason for your existence. Procrastination becomes a thief that robs the world of the good you were meant to confer. This sense of divine appointment also installs an internal compass that makes decision-making swift and certain. When confronted with temptation to deviate, you need only ask, does this advance or betray my assignment? The answer flashes like lightning, scattering confusion. Compromise loses its lure, for one does not haggle with eternity. You find the courage to say no to trivial diversions, to negative companions, to self, doubt itself, because these have no place in the campaign you are sworn to wage. Furthermore, the knowledge that you are under orders summons hidden reserves of energy. Fatigue evaporates when you envision those whom your success will liberate from mediocrity. Fear retreats when you recall that the author of your mission also supplies its resources. You are not a solitary wanderer guessing at the path. You are a commissioned officer in the army of progress, guided by intuition, strengthened by persistence, and accompanied by unseen allies who arrange coincidences in your favor the moment you move with determination. Therefore, walk, speak, plan, and labor with the bearing of one who carries sacred dispatches. Let your eyes blaze with the certainty that your life matters, that your contribution is irreplaceable, and that the clock of destiny is ticking in your favor so long as you act. In doing so, you transform commonplace days into chapters of a living scripture, testifying that when a person recognizes a divine assignment and accepts it fully, heaven and earth unite to clear his path and crown his effort with triumph. There exists a subtle yet sovereign law that governs every triumph wrought by humankind. Thought, saturated with unwavering belief, becomes fact. Fix this maxim firmly in your consciousness, for upon it the world's great edifices of achievement have been raised. A mind ablaze with absolute faith is a construction site where blueprints of desire harden into the concrete of reality. Skeptics call this foolish, results call it inevitable. The individual who masters this principle strides through life as an architect of circumstance, while those who deny it drift as spectators of chance. Begin by selecting the vision that sets your heart throbbing with possibility. Write it clearly, as though etching destiny upon granite. Now engage your imaginative faculty to behold that vision finished, vivid, tangible, alive. Witness yourself living in the outcome. Shake the hands you intend to shake. Inhabit the environment you intend to occupy. Hear the applause of those you intend to serve. Conjure the aroma, the textures, the very atmosphere of success until the scene vibrates with authenticity. You are rehearsing creation in the theater of the mind, and the subconscious, ever impressionable, records these rehearsals as directives to be carried out without fail. But visualization alone is incomplete. It must be fused with belief so adamant that doubt finds no foothold. Faith is not mere optimism, it is spiritual certainty, the voice within that declares it is done. Even while physical eyes still perceive vacancy, cultivate this certainty through daily autosuggestion. Affirm aloud with emotional intensity, I now realize my vision in perfect order. All forces seen and unseen cooperate to bring it forth. Repetition of such declarations imprints them on the subconscious, which in turn marshals imagination, initiative, and intuition to search out plans, allies, and opportunities consistent with your demand. Understand that faith operates on two planes. On the inner plane, it alters your mental chemistry, ejecting the poisons of fear and hopelessness. On the outer plane, it acts as a cosmic transmitter, broadcasting your intent to an intelligent universe that echoes back circumstances matching the frequency of your conviction. What the timid call coincidence, the faithful recognize as the response of providence. Expect resistance in the interim, for the soil of reality must be tilled before the harvest appears. Yet every setback is but a midwife ensuring the sturdy birth of your dream. Meet obstacles with the calm confidence of one who knows the outcome cannot be denied. Persist with resolute action. Plan, toil, refine, always keeping your inner picture radiant and intact. Act as if failure were impossible, for to the mind endowed with faith it is. Associate with those who reinforce belief and distance yourself from naysayers who traffic in doubt. Guard your emotional environment with the zeal of a watchman, allowing no thought to linger that contradicts your purpose. Remember, the subconscious is impersonal. It accepts any blueprint delivered with emotion, whether of victory or defeat. Supply it only with the former, in time, often sooner than logic would predict. The veil between the imagined and the actual will dissolve. Doors once bolted will swing wide. Resources once scarce will appear, and people whose talents you require will be drawn as iron filings to a magnet. Then you will stand amid results that others label miraculous, yet you will know they are merely the inevitable fruits of an inner harvest, unshakable faith steadfastly sown, magnificently reaped. Picture the grandest cathedral ever conceived, soaring spires, flawless arches, stained, glass windows that ignite with sunrise. Such majesty is not conjured by accident. It is chiseled, brick, by craftsmen who submit to unrelenting order. Likewise, the cathedral of success rises only upon the scaffold of discipline. Inspiration may light the first spark, but without systematic control of thought and habit, that spark flickers out, leaving only smoke where greatness might have blazed. Begin with the citadel of the mind. Thoughts are the raw blocks from which destiny is carved. A single undisciplined idea, one morsel of envy, one whisper of self-pity can weaken the whole structure. Therefore, install sentries at the gate of consciousness. At the first sign of defeatist chatter, command, halt, you have no passport here. Replace the intruder with its opposite, courage for fear, gratitude for complaint, purpose for apathy. Perform this mental drill hourly if needed, for repetition is the drill master that converts fleeting willpower into iron habit. Next, safeguard the ledger of time. Each dawn delivers 24 golden coins, and every tick of the clock spends one irretrievably. The disciplined individual budgets minutes with the same scrutiny that a banker guards bullion, establish fixed hours for study, production, reflection, and rest, postpone pleasure until the day's crucial work is complete, knowing that leisure earned tastes sweeter than leisure stolen. When temptations to idle arise, recall the ledger and ask, does this purchase advance my mission or impoverish it? Let arithmetic, not appetite, render the verdict, then turn to the forge of daily actions. Great achievements are merely minor acts performed with militant consistency. The athlete repeats drills until muscle itself becomes memory. The orator rehearses until cadence flows like water. The entrepreneur refines offers until value outshines cost. Select the 2 or 3 behaviors that most accelerate your goal, be it writing a page, making 10 calls, mastering 1 new skill, and execute them without fail, regardless of mood. Mood is a weather vane, discipline is the compass. Do not overlook the body that houses ambition. Treat it as a sacred vessel, nourish it with foods that enliven, strengthen it with exercise that invigorates, and restore it through sufficient sleep. A sluggish physique shackles a soaring mind. Recall that fatigue breeds doubt, and that clarity is the dividend paid to those who train their flesh in harmony with their purpose. Detractors may mock such regimentation as rigid, but those who march to the drum of discipline discover an unexpected freedom, the freedom from chaos, from regret, from mediocrity's dull ache. They move through life with the calm assurance of a seasoned pilot who trusts his instruments amid storms. Finally, anchor discipline to a vision so compelling that neglect feels like betrayal. When purpose blazes fiercely, discipline ceases to be drudgery and becomes devotion. Tasks once tedious acquire the sheen of ritual. Each completed routine rings like a bell announcing progress. Remember this immutable equation. Vision multiplied by discipline equals manifested destiny. Permit no exception, accept no compromise. Govern your thoughts, guard your time, master your habits, and you will command results that others deem unattainable, erecting a monument of success that stands unshaken against the eroding winds of chance. Stand at the foot of any mountain worth climbing, and you will feel the bite of thin air, the sting of icy wind, and the relentless pull of gravity urging retreat. Yet those very hardships serve as irrefutable evidence that you have reached the realm where ascent begins. So it is with every significant endeavor. Resistance is the signature of worthwhile territory. When obstacles crowd your path, do not curse them. Salute them as heralds announcing that you have crossed the border between idle wishing and earnest achievement. Consider the seed beneath the soil. Darkness, pressure, and the weight of earth are its first companions. Were the seed capable of complaint, it might lament such harsh confinement. But that very pressure is nature's summons to sprout, to pierce the crust and rise toward sunlight. Likewise, every setback you face is a summons from destiny. Grow stronger, dig deeper, and push upward. Absence of challenge is not comfort, it is dormancy. Only through friction does the soul ignite its latent power. Resolve, then, to transmute adversity into advancement by a threefold process. First, interrogate the difficulty. Ask what lesson hides within this trial. Every problem is a disguised professor bearing a curriculum tailored to your next stage of growth. The failed deal teaches negotiation, the rejected manuscript refines expression, the physical injury instills respect for balance and health. Extract the lesson while it is fresh, for wisdom fades if unrecorded. Keep a ledger of setbacks and their teachings, consult it often as a personal oracle. Second, search for the compensating benefit. The universe operates on a law of equilibrium. Within each loss nests a seed of equal or greater gain, provided you plant and cultivate it. A closed door redirects you to a corridor brimming with better opportunities. A financial blow may awaken ingenuity that multiplies income beyond prior levels. Train your perception to hunt for these hidden seeds with the eagerness of a prospector panning for gold. What you look for you will find. Third, convert indignation into initiative. Emotion is energy. Do not squander it on lamentation. Channel frustration into constructive action. Revise the plan, hone the skill, widen the network. Let adversity become the forge that tempers your will. Steel is worthless until forged at hot temperatures. So too the human spirit achieves resilience only when subjected to heat and hammer. Understand that adversity also performs a crucial filtration. It sifts the resolute from the fickle, ensuring that only those truly committed reach the summit. This filtration protects the integrity of great rewards. Were success obtainable without resistance, its value would depreciate, and the unprepared would mishandle its responsibilities. Welcome adversity, therefore, as the guardian that certifies your readiness. Surround yourself with companions who perceive trials as stepping stones, not stumbling blocks. Their perspective will reinforce your own. Avoid the company of chronic complainers. Their words are seeds of doubt that germinate in unguarded minds. Instead, let your speech affirm progress even in the midst of apparent defeat. This setback is but a detour on the route to triumph. Finally, commemorate each conquered obstacle. Write the victory in your journal, tell the tale to allies, and etch the lesson in memory. These triumphs accumulate into a reservoir of confidence from which you will draw courage when the next gale arises. Remember, the sailor earns mastery not in calm harbors but on storm-tossed seas. So too, you forge mastery on the battleground of adversity. Welcome the storm, grip the helm, and know that every gust propels you closer to the shores of your grand design. Trace the footsteps of every towering figure who has left a luminous imprint on civilization, philosopher, statesman, inventor, captain of industry, and you will discover a common denominator, each rendered service on a scale that dwarfed personal reward. The world, like a just treasurer, dispenses its richest dividends not to the one who hoards talent, but to the one who circulates it. By this immutable law, your stature is determined less by the height of your ambition than by the breadth of the lives you elevate. Begin, therefore, by identifying a genuine human need. Success blooms where the pain of many meets the skill of one who cares enough to relieve it. Refuse the temptation to chase fashionable trends for mere profit. Instead, attune your mind to the murmurs of unmet desires, unresolved frustrations, unlived possibilities. Ask, where does my ability intersect with humanity's hunger? In the answer lies your wellspring of greatness. Having chosen your field of contribution, adopt the supreme standard. Deliver more value than you are paid for. Compensation is a trailing indicator, value is the leading force. When you pour an extra measure of excellence into every transaction, when you polish the unseen corner, return the call no rival bothers to make, add the thoughtful gesture no contract demands, you install a magnetic tablet in the minds of those you serve. They remember, they refer, they reward. Like a stone cast into still water, each act of surplus value spreads outward in concentric circles, touching clients you have never met and opening doors you have yet to knock upon. Do not regard service as a pious abstraction. Quantify it in practical terms. The teacher can stay after class to kindle a struggling student's confidence. The software engineer can design an interface that spares users hours of frustration. The merchant can package wisdom with merchandise, guiding customers to wiser choices than their own impulse would dictate. Greatness is built in these incremental decisions to exceed expectation, yet beware, service rendered with the secret motive of manipulation corrupts its own blessing. The universe discerns intent. Give because giving is right, because lifting others elevates your own spirit, because generosity aligns you with the inexhaustible source of abundance. Paradoxically, when service becomes a joyous habit rather than a calculated tactic, material rewards multiply with effortless reliability. Expand your mindset from transaction to transformation. Ask not, how can I sell my product? But how can my product transform a life, a community, a culture? This shift places you in partnership with forces larger than yourself. Ideas arrive unbidden in morning reverie, allies appear whose talents complement your mission, and resources flow as if guided by an invisible hand eager to sponsor any enterprise devoted to human betterment. Finally, engrave upon your psyche the creed of ascending generosity. As you climb, lift others, mentor the aspiring novice, spotlight the overlooked contributor, share the stage with those whose voices merit hearing. In doing so, you convert success into significance and fashion a legacy that outlives calendars and clings to consciousness. Understand this profound arithmetic. Value delivered equals influence earned. Influence wielded in service equals greatness secured. When you make service your signature, the ledger of life balances in your favor with compound interest, paid in respect, opportunity, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing that the world is measurably richer because you passed this way. All the world applauds brilliance, celebrates talent, and marvels at good fortune, but beneath every monument of success stands a less glamorous, often unnoticed foundation: persistence, the dogged refusal to quit. The quiet, defiant decision to continue when enthusiasm has fled, when the crowd has dispersed, when results seem absent and progress feels invisible. It is here, in this sacred chamber of effort without applause, that destiny is forged. Many begin with energy, few endure with discipline. The road to any worthy objective is littered with the relics of abandoned dreams, plans drawn with inspiration but discarded at the first sign of resistance. The difference between those who finish and those who falter is not genius or resources or connections. It is simply this: those who succeed keep going. Persistence is not noisy. It does not trumpet its approach. It is a quiet companion that sits beside you while you work late into the night. It speaks in whispers when doubt screams in your ear, "Try again." It is the invisible hand that lifts you out of bed when every fiber of your body urges you to rest. It is the spiritual resolve that marches when the legs grow weary. There will be times, yes, many, when results appear to retreat from your effort. You will give your best and see little change. You will invest your hours, your hopes, your heart, and the world will seem deaf to your contribution. But understand this: progress is not always visible in the moment. Like a seed buried beneath the soil, your effort is taking root. Invisible to the eye, it is preparing to erupt with power if you remain steadfast long enough to see it bloom. Do not mistake delay for denial. The universe does not move on human timetables. Often it withholds success not to punish, but to prepare you, to stretch your capacity, refine your character, and determine whether you are truly ready for what you've asked. The tests you face are not roadblocks, but proving grounds. Each challenge overcome becomes a credential stamped into your spirit, declaring to the world, "This one is worthy." Make persistence your daily religion. Let no discouragement take root in your heart without challenge. When one door closes, knock on the next, and the next, and the next. Let your desire be so intense, your purpose so consuming, that retreat becomes impossible. Act with the faith that every effort counts, even if it yields no visible fruit today. One more attempt could be the one that turns the tide. Surround yourself with examples of perseverance. Read of inventors who failed hundreds of times, leaders who were doubted, builders who were laughed at. Draw strength from their stories, for in their struggle you will find your own reflection. Their victory is the prophecy of yours, and should you feel tempted to quit, remember this: no one was ever defeated until they accepted defeat in their heart. The dream remains alive for as long as you remain in motion. Therefore, press on. Let your life declare this truth to all who watch: the one who will not stop cannot be stopped.